Um, all right, hi. Welcome to another Myers-Briggs Type Interaction. I'm Solobach, and I'm an ISTP, and I'm talking with, how the heck do you pronounce your username?
Fihe.
Fihe, from Personality Cafe, and at the moment, I believe you don't quite know your type. Your
No, I'm not really sure. I would say that I'm IXTX because I always seem to test as something different, and I've been trying to figure myself out. Hopefully, I can soon.
Okay, IXTX, and that's actually of a special interest to me because that's kind of what I was for a while when I was trying to figure out my type. And it's like the T, that the I and the T were like pretty definite, and like didn't really have any doubts about that. And I was getting borderline between S and N, and borderline between J and P, and would get different results every time. Is that what's been happening with you?
Yeah, that's been happening with me, and it's depressing
Hmm. Why is that?
because I don't like being uncertain with myself.
Hmm.
It, I don't know, it just makes me feel, I guess, even more, I don't know how to say this, but, I already feel like I'm kind of not belonging with society in general. I guess you could say I feel like even more of an outcast. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, because I'm not sure about myself.
Okay. Okay. Well, then there should be an interesting conversation today. I'm I myself am not by any means a personality type expert. I've only been really studying it for 3 months. So, but I have been like really getting into it these past few months,
Mm.
studying the cognitive functions, and I know a little bit about like the theory of how to determine a person's type, but I just haven't really practiced it much. So,
Uh, yeah.
and I was watching your video that you did with Hornet,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I could not figure out what your type was because I just kept going back and forth, and like I was like no more certain by the end of the video than I was at the beginning.
I'm
So,
surprised you even watched it all.
oh yeah, I tend to watch these videos like just in like little chunks.
Yeah.
Just like whenever if I'm like going for a walk or like just the other day I was like driving to work and I had like one earbud in my ear and I had like I was watching it on my phone. I would set the phone down, like
Mm-hmm.
put on my gear shift, and I was kind of like just kind of listening as I was driving to work.
Interesting. I never even thought of doing that. But I don't know. I just can't watch a whole video of people talking for a whole hour.
Oh, yeah, half an hour is about the longest I can go watching it straight, and I always have to be doing something else while I'm watching.
That's a good idea. I think I'll probably do something else next time if I ever want to, I guess, just listen to one of these videos instead of watching and listening because, I don't know, I feel like instead of just watching, I could make better use of my time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you don't really have to like be watching two people talking the whole time. And like, if something interesting happens, like you want to catch their facial expression, you can always rewind a few seconds and and watch it. But
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah,
just straight talking. You don't really have to see them. Once you see what they look like.
yeah. As for different types of typing, I don't really remember how I first discovered it, but I had been looking into it quite a bit for the past couple of months. But I think once I realized that I couldn't really find my type, at least not for now, I got a little bit less interested. Now I've become a little more interested again because I, for the first time, have really looked at the role that the cognitive functions play.
Okay, yeah, I remember last time you were you were saying you didn't really know anything about it, but well, actually, I did see your post on Personality Cafe where you were talking about being IXTX or IXTJ, and you got like INTP on a recent test. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and now I understand why. It's because I think it's because I scored so high on thinking. But I don't know if I really would be an INTP because if you do what I had been doing before and just taking each letter in each different type and thinking of them in, I guess, an isolated manner rather than all together, I was thinking, well, perceiving, that doesn't make that much sense to me.
Okay, so you don't see yourself as a perceiver at all?
Maybe a little, but I don't think of myself as much of a spontaneous person at all.
Well, okay, the thing about J versus P, um, a lot of people get that, well, there's a lot of misconceptions about personality typing in general, or Myers-Briggs types. Um, when people say P means spontaneous, um, I think a lot of people think it means impulsive, and it's not the same thing. Um, or I think the reason people think it means spontaneous is that that's more like a kind of a typical result of having a perceiver personality.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the true meaning of being a perceiver means that your general preferred mode of operation is that you prefer to take in information more than, or you prefer to spend more time taking in information than actually doing stuff about it. So,
Hmm.
like in your decision-making process, a perceiver would want to gather as much information as they can before they make an actual decision. And if given all the time in the world, they would actually never make a decision. They would just
Yeah.
keep on trying to gather information, and because there's always going to be more to learn about the issue. Whereas a judger will just take the minimum amount of information that they absolutely need, and they'll just make a decision as quickly as they can, just because they want to move on to something else.
I see. Okay, well, now that you say that about perceiver, I guess I think that about myself because I was talking about this in my last video that I made, and I realized that when I'm trying to buy something, I will spend a great deal of time trying to decide whether I want it. Like, I will go use my phone while I'm shopping and look at reviews online, and I will also look at the product and then look at the price and think if it's really worth the price. And also on the and even after I'm done thinking about all this stuff, I think in the event that I may change my mind anyway and want to return it, is it this store too far away that it might be difficult to do that?
Okay. Well, when you go through that process, does it actually does it ever cause you to put off a decision, like kind of in,
Sometimes.
yeah?
Like, it depends if it's something that I feel that I've been wanting for a while or that I need. Because sometimes I think maybe I should come back tomorrow so I can get more information. And also, if I still want it by tomorrow, then I guess I can get it. If not, then I probably didn't really want it to begin
Okay. Um, all right. That could be a sign of a P type.
with, possibly.
Not entirely sure. Um, let's see. So, let's see. When you were saying you stumbled upon the Myers-Briggs tests and you ended up not being too sure about your type.
Hmm.
Um, was there anything in particular that got you interested in learning more about it, like just recently?
I think, like recently, as in, like, I guess a week ago or so, because I have been on the forums all this time, but I never spent much time in the Myers-Briggs portion of the forum because I figured that that kind of stuff is kind of um, somewhat over my head at that moment anyway, because especially I guess it has to do with lately I haven't, I don't know, I've been always tired and it affects my ability to think. So that's why I try to avoid things sometimes that I feel like require too much thinking because I don't know, I just have not been really able to think about stuff that well lately. So I have to be in a good state of mind in order to study things like that, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, like lately I've even been feeling dazed when I drive. Hopefully everything's okay with me, but I think it's because I have two jobs, and one of them I have to wake up really early. The other one I have been scheduled mostly for the evenings, so it's been messing with how I sleep and therefore how I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
also outside things in my life that have nothing to do with this kind of stuff itself that have probably been affecting like how I have been. I don't know, like my study patterns of Myers-Briggs, pretty much.
Okay. So it's mainly just kind of just more curiosity and just trying to learn a bit about more about yourself.
Yeah. But also, I want to know how it can help me with careers because right now I'm trying to find a one full-time job because I'd rather not have to have two part-time jobs. But I don't really know what kind of career is for me because even though I went to college and I studied for a certain career, I'm not really sure now if I still want to do that because I've had some experience with it, and I'm not sure if it's something that I would feel comfortable doing for a long period of time.
Hmm. What? Oh, what career is it?
Education.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a substitute teacher is one of my jobs. I enjoy it, but I feel like if I had to be a teacher year round, then I'd probably just get burned out with having to grade all these tests outside of school. I mean, when I was studying to be a teacher, I knew that I would have to do this stuff, but then once I got into the student teaching and the substitute teaching, I got to see how other teachers felt, and when I was making my own lessons for the students, I got to feel that in that way too. And sometimes I was just so tired after school I would just fall asleep on my bed and then I would kind of fall behind in my work and I'm afraid that'll happen when I become a teacher and I don't know, if possible, I'd like to find a job where I can just do more of my work at work.
Okay.
Mhm.
That makes sense. So what got you interested in teaching in the first place?
The fact that I think that a lot of kids in general, like they could, and in this country at least, I feel like the education could be better. And I think that if I know something about a subject, then I should let other people know about it.
Hmm. Okay. So, I mean, do you enjoy working with kids?
Yeah, well, as long as they are well behaved.
Okay. So for you, it's more about just imparting knowledge to them rather than like just uh, interacting with the kids themselves.
Well, I do like interacting with them, but a lot of the reason why I wanted to originally go on that career path was because of the knowledge aspect.
Okay, that's interesting. So I might like just kind of like look like I'm kind of lost in thought for a bit. Like
That's okay.
I'm I guess I'm kind of like still in that mindset. Like I'm trying to figure out like how this relates to your possible type, and I'm just
Wondering, what kind of career do you have?
I'm a software developer,
Hmm.
and uh, and it's really interesting because learning about my type um, has actually taught me like what aspects of that career that I enjoy, because there's different elements to software development. There's like actual like product design, which is what I did for several years. Uh,
Um,
what most software developers do, like people go learn programming, and that's most of the big high paying jobs are just developers who like design software products. I've actually been working at Microsoft for several years.
okay.
Um, and what I found was that I got really bored of it after a few years. Just got tired of like just sitting in meetings and going reviewing people's designs and spending like a whole like 6 month period just working on this this one aspect of designing this one feature for the next version of the product. And
Um,
I just like couldn't I just lost all passion for it, and couldn't concentrate. My work suffered for it, and I couldn't really figure out why.
mhm.
um, but what I actually enjoy doing now is anything related to fixing the daily software build process, which is like the automated process that compiles the software and packages it into the form, the format that ships on a on a DVD or package for the web, and make sure that that the code is in a good state, and can be tested, and it has no breaks or errors and so there's like this whole aspect where where I can where I'm automating these scripts and looking into the problems that come up on a daily basis. And what I found out is my type, the ISTP, is really good at just solving quick problems and moving on to the next problem, which is pretty much what that build engineer role does.
I see. I'll be honest, a lot of what you just talked about is pretty over my head because I don't think of myself as much of a scientific person. I was interested in biology when I was in high school, but wait, I'm sorry, I just realized that my laptop's not plugged in. I need to plug it. And so I decided I wanted to take it at the AP level. So I had to get a waiver from the guidance counselor, and I was accepted because I told him, well, I want to be a scientist. And at the time, it was true. Like, I thought it was really interesting. But then when I got to the AP level, it was just so much reading, and I couldn't do it. Like, I tried doing the readings in the beginning of the year, and my house was just too loud, too many distractions. It never occurred to me to do it at the public library, so then I just gave up on the readings, and my grades suffered as a result. Because, I don't know, like, even though I was a history major in college, the truth was, I had just read enough that I could understand the readings. I didn't read the whole things, and usually, what I would do was before class, I would talk about it with the other students in the class, and so we could all contribute of what we got out of the reading. I think, if anything, being in college, like, this may sound funny, but in my opinion, it's a good life skill. It taught me how to trick people into thinking I did a really thorough job, when in fact I just did a little, and it was just enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An ex-coworker once told me, like, it's not what you know, it's what you act like you know.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. And I was just thinking, like, I really hope a potential employer doesn't find this video of me, because then they're going to think that I'm not a good worker at all. That's not true, though. I mean, I think that, well, I mean, at the jobs I do now, I think I'm pretty good at them. And, again, like, I suppose what you act like you, what you act like you know, or whatever you just said.
Yeah, well, I mean, most good employers will know that it all depends on what you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
Like when I was struggling, as a full timer at Microsoft, my manager and his manager, like, had a talk with me and, like, asked me, is this what you really want to be doing for the rest of your life? And that just kind of really got me thinking. And I realized that the only reason I was still there was because I didn't know what else to do. But we just ended up deciding, I'm just gonna look to see what else is out there, and then I decided to, and then I decided to go with some contract work, using my software development skills. Yeah, a lot of local recruiters found, like, contract positions at other teams within Microsoft, just because, like, Microsoft is so huge where I live.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I was able to find, like, roles that were more suited to just my general preferences. I
Mhm.
still use my technical skills, but they're more cater more to my desire to just solve problems, as rather than just like design new features. Because like design is more something that intuitives are more into, like, especially with those who use extroverted intuition.
Like,
Uh,
because you can see possibilities.
Yeah, they're really good at brainstorming and coming up with new ideas, seeing just seeing possibilities out of out of just kind of building up possibilities from the ground up.
Mhm.
Whereas whereas me, I'm just more into, like, just seeing what's in the here and now, and figuring out how to deal with a current issue.
Yeah, I tried that once. Didn't really work. because I feel like I always will think about what's going to happen next. Because I guess because of the point in my life that I'm right now, like since I'm trying to get a job that I can stay in, or at least in that industry for my whole lifetime, and right now I feel really stuck because what I'm doing now, if I stay with that and not get any promotions, I definitely can't sustain that for my whole life. I would be poor and live in a box or something. So, but I don't know. My problem is that I feel like I have nothing that I can really contribute to any kind of sustainable job. Something that will actually pay me a living wage and will be good enough that I could enjoy doing for my lifetime. Maybe I should. Well, I was thinking I would only go back. I would go to back to school and go to grad school if I've exhausted all of my other possibilities.
Hmm. Do you know what you would go back to grad school to study?
Problem is, I don't even know because I have a lot of different interests. But then I also have to think about what's going to pay the bills.
Yeah, I mean that's similar to the same like the problem I've had. Um, Whereas in my case, it's more that I had those years of coding skills that are like really in high demand,
Hmm.
um, and I feel like it would be a waste to just throw that away. And like if I go even like 1 or 2 years without using it, like I'll become obsolete.
Yeah.
So if I decided like just go for a completely different career, I have to commit to it and decide this is what I really want to do for the rest of my life. I want to just adding up software development, but I'm not quite there yet.
I see. I was just thinking, since you talked about that you work for Microsoft, you probably would be disappointed to know that I use a Mac. Yeah, but one thing, let me show you this. Let me unplug this laptop for a second. These chargers for these laptops, they are no good. This is well, my laptop is like 5 years old, and this is the third charger that I've had. Fortunately, this third one I have was able to be replaced for free because just a month or so after I bought the second one, it failed, so they replaced it for free. Look, this wire is fraying. I'm holding it together with scotch tape. That's probably pretty dangerous.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm upset. Like, the computer itself is good, but these chargers are just awful. Get it together, Mac. Apple. Make better chargers for good computers. Sorry, I
Okay.
went a little
I'm,
off topic there.
hmm?
I went a little off topic there.
Oh no, that's it's actually interesting because I was actually just wondering, do you
Yes.
is that something you do often, like just like the Scotch tape thing? Do you like to just find like quick little fixes? And,
Well, I don't know if there's a special kind of tape I'm supposed to use with this, probably electrical tape, but I'm not sure if I have any in my house, so when I saw this thing coming apart, I just used scotch tape. And, yeah, usually I'll just try to, I guess, tape things together. And I also, do quite a bit of online trading and sometimes selling, and I'll just use like the most crude forms of packaging because, in my opinion, it's just a package. It's not the product, and as long as it's protecting the product inside, I don't really care what it looks like. I reuse those things all the time.
yeah, okay. Um, okay. Yeah, I don't really know what that means, but I'm sure it's significant.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. I haven't even thought of the significance of that because I don't always really look into those kind of things in life because I feel like not everything has a hidden meaning. Some things just
Well,
are.
what I'm saying is that a lot of like a lot of SJ types, those are traditionalists. They'll be more likely to just go out and buy a new one, or um, especially like like the ESFJ is stereotypical of like um, wanting everything to look nice and proper, and like they won't look for like an innovative quick fix. They'll just do if it's broken, just go out and buy a new one, or um, or just do what's more like acceptable by society or whatever.
Eh. Well, the problem is that first of all, I don't really have that much money to be buying another charger, and secondly, this computer is kind of old anyway, so I don't know if it's useful to get a new one. I think I'm gonna give this laptop to my uncle. Actually, I was planning to get a new laptop for myself, and I don't think he would mind if this wire looks funny, just as long as the computer works, because he's never had his own computer, so even just getting this is a big deal for him, I'm sure. Although I'm gonna have to teach him how to use a Mac because he's only used Windows computers before. He's only used desktop ones.
Okay.
Actually, he did have his own computer once, but it was really, really, really old.
Okay.